It's been nearly a decade since climate change first came on the agenda of people in the foreign policy and security establishment. So people are aware that climate change poses a security threat. The problem now is that they don't quite know what to do about it.
The reality is that climate impacts are not manifested in terms of new problems. They really come to you in problems you already know. Those problems will be more intense, they will happen more frequently and affect more people.
Climate change is already manifesting itself in a variety of impacts across the world, from extreme weather events, sea level rise, droughts. Climate change is usually thought of as a threat multiplier.
Climate change is one of the pressures that interacts with, for example, other pressures and shocks such as economic growth, population growth, rising urbanization, rising inequality, and together these pressures can push states towards fragility and threaten their stability.
Challenge touches so many different aspects, whether it's energy supply to water scarcity to migration to engineering. So it's really mapping the problem and then mapping the resources you have to deal with it.
I think probably the main challenge is try to integrate policies. You know, you cannot do security thing on one side, transportation on the other, energy on the third one, and then agriculture. You have to consider all these policies together.
We have unresolved transboundary water management issues in Central Asia. And of course we have to find a solution how to deal with water deficit because of climate change and irrational use of water resources in Central Asia.
When we are talking about climate policy, we are not talking only about high policy level, about diplomats in New York or Geneva, or about a framework convention of United Nations. Each citizen can contribute into climate change adaptation policy.
We should create the balance between economical development and environmental protection. Only finding the nexus for this balance will lead to the achievement of the climate change, sustainable development.
The method of the OSCE is based on prevention largely, so it is important for the OSCE to look at the issues around climate change in a broad perspective, the perspective of sustainable development. In many ways the OSCE is already addressing issues related to climate change. We're dealing with water issues in many areas, for instance in Central Asia. We're dealing with cooperation in addressing countries or in supporting countries affected by environmental disasters. We are actively engaged in establishing the so-called ORUS centers, which are centers that do focus on environmental issues.
There are going to be many challenges in the OSCE community, and an organization that can bring them all together to the table to work about designing those solutions and then going on to the ground to implement them. That's invaluable in what we need to do in the world today.
I think the OSCE can play a very important part as an important convener of their member states and other important international organizations, and to keep really climate change and security high on the political agenda and advance the discourse, the global discourse around climate change and security.